Very good morning and welcome to News on the Hour. In the next 1 hour, we'll get you all the latest news and updates. Different correspondents will also be joining us for giving us the latest updates. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. First up, the headlines. Two important bills to be tabled in Lok Sabha today, including the bill related to defence services, factory regulation amendment bill to be discussed in lower house 2. In Rajya Sabha, marine aids to navigation bill 2021 to be discussed. Besides Ashwini Vaishnav to make a statement regarding compromise of phone data of some persons as reported in the media. Maldives Foreign Affairs Minister Abdulla arrives in Delhi on his first official visit as President-elect of the 76th General Assembly of the United Nations to call on PM Modi and hold meeting with the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on key international, multilateral, regional and bilateral issues of mutual interest. An agreement will also be signed during the visit. India continues to combat COVID pandemic. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage exceeds 41.78 crore. Recovery rate stands at 97.35%. 38,652 patients recover in last 24 hours, taking total recoveries at over. Flight tested indigenously developed low-weight, fire and forget, man-portable anti-tank guided missile. 3 more Rafale jets arrive in India from France. And cheering for Indian contingent for Tokyo Olympics, Sports Minister Anurag Thakur rolls out Hamara Victory Punch campaign on social media, appeals to Indians to tag 5 friends or family members to show their support for the Indian Olympics team. Well, starting with our top story in Lok Sabha, 2 important bills will be tabled today. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh will introduce the Essential Defence Services Bill 2021. The bill will provide for the maintenance of essential defence services so as to secure the security of the nation and life and property of public at large. Besides, Sarbanan Sonowal will introduce the Inland Vessels Bill 2021. Along with this, the Factory Regulation Amendment Bill and the National Institutes of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management Bill 2021 will also be kept in the lower house for discussion and passing. In Rajya Sabha, the Marine Aids to Navigation Bill 2021 will be taken up for consideration and passing today. Besides, Union Minister of Railways Ashwini Vaishnav will make a statement regarding compromise of phone data of some persons as reported in the media. Well, to talk more on this, our correspondent Vishal Baristo is joining us live. Good morning, Vishal. Very important day in Parliament today. 2 bills will be tabled in Lok Sabha and Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav will also speak.
Well, absolutely. A very good morning to you, Abhishek. You made the mention of IT Minister, and that is very, very important because he's going to make a statement on the alleged phone tapping issue. Remember, a few days back he had given a statement in the lower house of the Parliament, and Congress is quite adamant in particular that it would not allow the house to function because a few days back when we spoke to Gaurav Gogoi after the house was adjourned, and he said that the prerogative is with the government. So I'm not sure whether Congress is ready to participate in the parliamentary affairs, but in the upper house things went well and there was a 4-hour discussion on the pandemic issue. The opposition came all out attacking the government about how things could have been better, but the government also answering every question, and the health minister making it very clear that the government is very much aware of not only what lies ahead but also of the present situation, and very quickly we have been able to overcome the pangs of the second wave, and that is all because of the vision of the Modi government. Remember, we are having the largest vaccination drive in the world, so that was quite an important statement made by the health minister. And earlier, before the monsoon session started, Prime Minister had also said that he would like the opposition to ask the sharpest of questions, and the government is ready to give the reply, but that has to be within the rules and amid a peaceful atmosphere, because the world is watching the largest democracy, and when the Parliament is on, the eyes of the world are on us. And other two important bills would be the Essential Defense Services Bill, and that is going to be very important again. And apart from introducing the bill, the Defense Minister would also table the statement in the House as to why it is important. Other bills, they have been there ever since the monsoon session started, but because of the time and again adjournment and time and again disturbance created by the opposition, the bills could not be introduced. So let's hope for the best. Upper House functioned day before. Yesterday was the Eid holiday, but today we hope that better sense prevail over the opposition and they allow the House to function, particularly the lower house. Abhishek?
And also, Vishal, before we wind up, like you said, monsoon session began on a stormy note on Monday, and Tuesday also it had to be adjourned, like you also mentioned, and yesterday was a holiday. But again, today is a very, very important day in the sense that they could not transact any legislative business in the first 2 days.
Well, yes, because for two days have been wasted. Yesterday was a holiday, so we cannot do much about it. But 2 days were wasted, especially in the lower house. Though there was some discussion, rather a long discussion on the pandemic, on the demand of the opposition. But let me tell you that we have just spoken to the MS Parliamentary Affairs, Mr. Meghwal, Arjun Ram Meghwal, and he said that we are ready to talk to the farmers as and when they want. Remember, the farmers have given a warning that they would be storming the Parliament House and try to disturb the Parliament proceedings. But the government has made it stand very clear that all doors are open. They are ready to discuss each and every issue. And it is not now, but ever since the protest started, the government has always been making it very clear. Even the Prime Minister has gone on record saying that he is ready to come up with any kind of suggestion by the farmers, because the only reason why these laws have been laws have been brought up by the government is for the benefit of the farmers. And if they have any suggestion, then they can come up, and we are ready for any round of talk, any number of rounds of talks. Abhishek?
Absolutely, very, very important day today. Like you said, various bills will also be tabled in the Lok Sabha. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you for giving us your vital inputs. Moving on, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Maldives, Abdulla Shahid, arrived in Delhi on his first official visit as President-elect of the 76th General Assembly of the United Nations. During the visit, PJ-elect will pay a courtesy call on Prime Minister and will be holding talks with the External Affairs Minister on key international, multilateral, regional and bilateral issues of mutual interest. External Affairs Minister will also be hosting an official dinner in honor of the visiting dignitary. PJ-elect will also share his vision for UNGA presidency through a virtual public address titled Presidency of Hope, COVID Pandemic and Need for Reformed Multilateralism. On 23rd July forenoon at the Indian Council of World Affairs premises at Sapru House, New Delhi, Abdulla Shahid's visit will provide an opportunity to exchange views with him on several global challenges that the United Nations is currently seized with. It will also give us an opportunity to reiterate India's abiding commitment to multilateralism and the UN's leadership in confronting these challenges. India would be the first country that Abdulla Shahid is visiting in his official capacity as PJ-elect since his election on 7 June 2021. PJ-elect had last visited India in April 2021 in his capacity as the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Maldives. Maldives occupies a central place as part of India's Neighbourhood First policy, and the Saga vision of Prime Minister and the two ministers are also expected to review the entire gamut of bilateral cooperation between the two sides. The discussions are expected to give further momentum to the rapidly expanding ties between the two countries. An agreement for high-impact community development projects to be implemented with Indian grant assistance in the Maldives will also be signed during the visit. Well, moving on to our next story, India continues to battle COVID-19, and in the last 24 hours, the country has reported 41,383 new cases of COVID-19. Active case load currently is at 4,09,394. Active cases now constitute 1.31% of total cases. In the last 24 hours, 38,652 patients recovered from the virus. As many as 3,429,339 patients have recovered so far across the country. Recovery rate currently is at 97.35% and the weekly positivity rate remains below 5%, currently at 2.12%, while daily positivity rate is less than 3% for 31 consecutive days and is now at 2.41%. On a nationwide vaccination drive, more than 41.78 crore vaccine doses have been administered so far. Testing has also been ramped up in the country. So far, a total of 45.09 crore tests have been conducted. Well, shifting focus, active rainfall spells continue over several parts of Maharashtra. Most parts of Mumbai are receiving intermittent rainfall during the past few hours. Similar scenes are visible across adjoining Thane and Palghar. Due to continuous rains, the level of Tansa Lake in Thane district is increasing. Due to landslide between Kasra and Igatpuri railway stations, traffic has temporarily stopped from 10:15 p.m. yesterday and the team have been deployed on the spot to clear the debris. Continuous rainfall is also being reported from Ratnagiri district. The level of Kolhapur's Panchganga river has reached danger level and the villages along the river have been alerted. NDRF teams have been rushed for Kolhapur from Pune considering heavy rainfall. Heavy rainfall is also being reported for Vidarbha, Nagpur, Chandrapur, Amravati and Gadchiroli. 3 districts including Washim, Yavatmal and Buldhana are witnessing intermittent rainfall. The Met Department has issued a red alert for Raigad, Ratnagiri, Pune, Kolhapur and Satara districts. Orange alerts has been issued for Mumbai, Thane and Palghar. Right, my colleague Shishir Shalar is joining us live from Mumbai to give us more information on this. Shishir, first of all, rains have been creating havoc in Mumbai and across Maharashtra. First of all, what is the forecast today? Various alerts, orange alert have been issued in Mumbai too and red alerts in several districts. Heavy rains predicted today also or some relief?
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. If you look at the Mumbai, especially the rain has stopped here. But apart from Mumbai, the adjoining areas receiving a quite heavy rainfall since yesterday night. Especially, the Thane district and the other Palghar district also have been receiving heavy rainfall since yesterday night. Some of the areas have submerged in water in Palghar district as well. But apart from that, if you look at the view of the entire Konkan belt here, and especially the Western Maharashtra region, which includes Kolhapur, Satara, Sangli, these are the areas which have received a quite heavy rainfall since last couple of days here, and that's the reason the rivers are overflowing. Most of the rivers have crossed the dangerous level, and that's the reason people have been alerted in this entire area. 2 NDRF teams have been deployed in Kolhapur district at various locations in Kolhapur. Apart from that, 1 team is deployed in Ratnagiri district's Chiplun area. Now, if you look at the Konkan region as well, apart from the Western Maharashtra, the Konkan region has also received quite a good rainfall here, and that's the reason especially the 3 important districts, the Ratnagiri, Sindhudurga and Raigad districts, people have been alerted there. The rivers have been overflowing there. Most of the dams have overflowed, and that's the reason the doors have been opened. People residing near the dams and the river areas have already been alerted and shifted to a safe place here. What the information we've got is that in Chiplun area, 1 NDRF team is deployed, and the Vashishta Nadi, the Vashishta river, which is actually crossing the danger level mark. In Kolhapur district also, the Panchganga river has crossed the dangerous level mark, and that's the reason the local authority also, along with the state disaster team and NDRF team, have been deployed at various locations here. People have been told not to venture. If it is necessary, only they can go out of home. But at this point in time, the Western Maharashtra belt and the Konkan belt is receiving a very heavy rainfall. If you look at the prediction from the IMD has also stated that Kolhapur, Satara, Sangli, Pune, these are the regions have put in a red alert. Well, Mumbai and the adjoining area has also been put in orange alert, but as I told you that the rain has stopped in Mumbai. Apart from that, if you look at the local situation, the local trains are working as per the schedule in Mumbai, but due to the landslide in Kasara and Igatpuri route, especially the long train routes have been stopped here from the Kasara to Igatpuri. Now, this is one of the important route to come to Mumbai and to leave from Mumbai as well, because there are 2 important routes which comes to Mumbai. One is from Pune and one is from Nashik. Now, because of the landslide at yesterday night, the Nasik route, the Kasara to Igatpuri route have been stopped here. What the railway has stated that the work is still on currently, and soon they'll be able to start the service in this entire route here. But currently, all the entire team from the railway department is working to clear the route. So obviously, the Mumbai has actually stopped the rain, but people residing suburban areas and the western region of the Maharashtra, especially the Konkan belt and western Maharashtra, the IMD has predicted very heavy rainfall in the next couple of days.
Right, Shishir, and also like rain has obviously battered normal lives. There have been traffic diversions. You said landslides also. Trains have been halted. But again, role of BMC and the rescue teams, NDRF teams, it becomes very, very important. And also they have to deal with two challenges. First, taking care of the, so that everyone takes care of the COVID protocols, that they follow the COVID appropriate behavior, and also the situation, rain situation.
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. If you look at the Mumbai situation is quite under control at this point in time. As we have seen, the BMC has already been alerted, the officials also. But you rightly said that especially the western Maharashtra region is battling hard with the COVID numbers here. And especially if we talk about the Kolhapur region, Satara region, we have seen the maximum numbers compared to other districts in Maharashtra. These districts have registered maximum number in last week as well. And that's the reason the government, at one hand, to handle the COVID situation also, and the other hand, the rain situation that we have seen here devastated life in this particular region. Now, of course, the NDRF team have already been moved in some of this region here. State disaster team have also been moved in Kolhapur, Satara region as well. But in spite of that, now the next couple of days is quite crucial for this region, because the IMD has already forecasted that due to the low pressure belt created in Arabian Sea, Western Ghat may have an impact here. Western Ghat may receive maximum rainfall, and that's what we have seen since last couple of days.
Absolutely, Shishir. Rains creating havoc in Mumbai and across entire Maharashtra. Thank you, Shishir. Thank you for giving us your vital inputs. Braving rough seas, the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center of the Indian Coast Guard at Mumbai safely evacuated all the 12 crew of MV Kanchan in a daring night operation yesterday. MV Kanchan was stranded off Umargam in Gujarat due to contamination in fuel, thereby rendering the engine non-operational and no electrical power on board. The weather in area was inclement too. Simultaneously, ETV Water Lily was deployed by DG Shipping for assisting the stranded vessel and arrived in area by 7 today. In addition, 2 tugs have also been deployed by the vessel owners. The Bombay High Court to give its verdict today in pleas filed by former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh seeking to quash the CBI FIR against him. A petition was filed by Deshmukh seeking to quash the FIR against him by the Central Bureau of Investigation, alleging corruption in a letter written by former Police Commissioner Parambir Singh to Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. After the letter was filed mentioning instances of Deshmukh directing dismissed Assistant Police Inspector Sachin Vaze to collect rupees 100 crores from bars and restaurants every month. A public interest litigation was filed before the High Court in which another bench of High Court directed the CBI to conduct a preliminary inquiry against Deshmukh, which subsequently led to the registration of the FIR. Deshmukh is booked for criminal conspiracy and under the Prevention of Corruption Act. From Mumbai to Delhi now, flight operations at Delhi Airport's Terminal 2 resumes from today. The resumption of operations at T2 at Delhi Airport is being done with approximately 200 air traffic movements, including 100 departures and 100 arrivals per day initially. The first flight scheduled from T2 after reopening of this terminal was Kolkata-bound Indigo flight, which took off at 3 a.m. Delhi Airport reopened Terminal 2 once again for domestic flight operations after the recent shutdown owing to second wave of COVID-19. Moving on, security has been tightened at Jantar Mantar ahead of a farmers' protest against three farm laws amid monsoon session of the parliament. Farmers' bodies Sanyukt Kisan Morcha and Kisan Mazdoor Sangharsh Committee have been permitted to protest at Jantar Mantar. Permission has been granted following multiple rounds of negotiations and after written assurance by farmers that they would remain peaceful. Farmers have been asked to limit their numbers not exceeding 200 persons for Sanyukta Kisan Morcha and 6 persons for Kisan Mazdoor Sangharsh Committee from 11 am up to 5 pm daily. They would be escorted to the designated location from Singhu border in buses. They have been advised to observe COVID-appropriate behavior and social distancing. They have also been advised not to take out any march in view of COVID restrictions. Delhi Police has put in place extensive arrangements to ensure that the protest program remains peaceful. There have been instances of bird flu now. Haryana Surveillance Unit of the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program will initiate an epidemiological investigation into the first documented human case of bird flu. Close contacts of the patient have been kept under surveillance. Also, awareness building activities are being carried to inform general public about the disease. Earlier this week, an 11-year-old child from Gurugram in Haryana has been reported as the first human case of H5N1. The boy was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia or AML in Pediatrics Department, AIMS, Delhi on June 2021. He developed symptoms of fever, cough, coryza and breathing difficulty soon after induction therapy for AML. He was admitted to AIMS, New Delhi. The boy suffered from multi-organ dysfunction and died. Well, moving on to our next story now. In a major boost towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, DRDO successfully flight tested indigenously developed low-weight fire and forget man-portable anti-tank guided missile. The missile was launched from a man-portable launcher integrated with thermal sight, and the target was mimicking a tank. The missile hit the target in direct attack mode and destroyed it with precision. The test has validated the minimum range successfully. All the mission objectives were met. The missile has already been successfully flight tested for the maximum range. The missile is incorporated with state-of-the-art miniaturized infrared imaging seeker along with advanced avionics. The test brings the development of indigenous third-generation man-portable anti-tank guided missile close to completion. DRDO also successfully flight tested the new generation Akash missile, a surface-to-air missile from integrated test range off the coast of Odisha. The flight trial was conducted at around midday from a land-based platform with all weapon system elements such as multifunction radar, command, control and communication system and launcher participating in deployment configuration. Three more Rafale fighter jets arrived in India after flying non-stop from France yesterday. The aircraft were provided mid-air refueling by the Air Force of the UAE. This was revealed in a tweet by the Air Force. The first batch of 5 Rafale jets arrived in India on July 29th last year. The first Rafale squadron is based in the Ambala Air Force Station. It has already started patrolling the airspace with China in eastern Ladakh and other areas. The second squadron will be operationalized in Hasimara in West Bengal by the end of this month. Well, shifting focus now, Indian equity benchmark indices opened higher today following a positive trend in the global markets. The Sensex opened 0.57% or 296.05 points higher at 52,494.56. The Nifty 50 index started days trading at 15,736.60, up 104.50 points or 0.67%. All the sectoral indices traded in the green, led by banks, metals, IT and realty indices. In global markets, Australia's S&P ASX 200 index rose 0.9%. South Korea's Kospi index increased 0.9%, while Japan was closed for a holiday. S&P 500 and Nasdaq futures also traded firm. In international market, Wall Street on Wednesday clinched its second straight advance as robust corporates earnings and renewed optimism about the U.S. economic recovery fueled investor risk appetite. All three major U.S. stock indexes extended the previous session's gains, placing all three within 1% of their all-time closing highs. Dow Jones Industrial Average rose to 85.75 points or 0.83% to 34,797.74. The S&P 500 gained 35.59 points or 0.82% to 4,358.65, and Nasdaq Composite added 133.08 points or 0.92% to 14,631.95. Right now, we'll slip into a very short break. On the other side, more stories.
With the world's largest COVID vaccination drive, India is leading the way. As the vaccine reaches every corner of the nation, do not forget the mantra, Dawai bhi, kadai bhi. Let's continue our fight against COVID-19. Vaccination along with social distancing, sanitization and masks.
Mask up, India!
Put your mask on and cover your nose and be safe.
Mask up, India.
Welcome back after a short break. Let's take a look at COVID worldwide numbers now. The world continues to fight COVID-19. So far, more than 19 crore 27 lakh people worldwide have tested positive for the virus, while the number of recoveries stand above 17 crore and 53 lakh. The deadly virus has till now claimed lives of over 41,000 lives globally. The US continues to be the worst affected country by COVID-19. As many as 3 crore 51 lakh people in the country have been infected by COVID-19 so far. The virus has claimed lives of over 6 lakh 25,000 people in the US. Well, Britain now. The leader of Britain's opposition Labour Party, Keir Starmer, on Wednesday told Parliament Prime Minister Boris Johnson was a super spreader of confusion. Addressing Johnson during Prime Minister's questions in Parliament, Starmer made the comment when asking for clarity on an upcoming plan to require vaccination for entry to nightclubs. Johnson was answering questions from a video link into the Commons while he self-isolates after exposure to Health Minister Sajid Javid, who tested positive for COVID-19.
So, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to creating confusion, the Prime Minister is a super spreader. So let me try to get some clarity. Why is it okay? Why is it okay to go to a nightclub for the next 6 weeks without proof of a vaccine or a test, and then from September it will only be okay to get into a nightclub if you've got a vaccine ID card?
The US infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci has termed Delta variant as the cause of 80% of COVID-19 cases in the country. However, he said that authorized vaccines remain more than 90% effective in preventing hospitalizations and deaths. Delta variant version of COVID-19 has become dominant version of the virus in the United States and over 90 other countries worldwide. As per the director of US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Rochelle Walensky, deaths from COVID-19 in the United States have averaged 239 per day over the past week, nearly 48% higher than the previous week. The country has so far registered over 3 crore 51 lakh 59,000 cases of the disease, while the number of fatalities to the disease stand above 6 lakh and 25,000. And Peru police on Wednesday dismantled an alleged criminal ring that had charged as much $21,000 per bed for COVID-19 patients in a state-run hospital. As many as 9 people, including the administrators of Lima's Almenara public hospital, have been arrested for their alleged involvement. The scam was uncovered after police received a complaint from the brother of a man suffering from COVID who had been asked for $20,783 to obtain an ICU bed and treatment at the hospital. Well, Iran has imposed a 6-day lockdown in its capital Tehran and its nearby provinces. The streets of the capital were seen empty as lockdown affects Tehran and Alborz provinces. Only essential businesses have been allowed to open, while offices, theatres and sports facilities have been ordered to shut down. The country has been battling with the 5th wave of COVID-19 disease. Iran has imposed lockdown across and around the capital in a bid to tackle an uptick in the number of cases of the highly contagious Delta variant of the COVID-19. The country has seen more than 36,03,000 cases of the disease, with over 87,000 lives lost. And as Iran faces a dearth of COVID-19 vaccines, large number of Iranians travel to neighboring Armenia, where the tourists are being provided free COVID-19 vaccine jabs. The Armenian Tourism Committee said more than 8,500 Iranian citizens had visited in June, up from 5,000 a month earlier. The build-up of overnight queues prompted the authorities to tighten vaccine rules, and as of July 15, foreigners can only be inoculated in Armenia with the AstraZeneca vaccine and must spend 10 days in the country before becoming eligible. Armenia, with population of over 29,69,000, had administered more than 2,60,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine so far. And Bangladesh celebrated Eid-ul-Azha on Wednesday amid the COVID-19 pandemic for the second consecutive year. Eid congregations were not held in open spaces this year under the directive of the government to restrict the spread of the virus. Despite some relaxation given in the lockdown, the festival was observed in a somber mood with several health guidelines in place across the country. 5 Eid congregations, however, were held at the National Mosque Baitul Mukarram in Dhaka. President M. Abdul Hamid and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, in their messages on the occasion, called upon people to observe the health guidelines, including wearing of masks and maintaining social distancing. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has so far reported more than 11.36 lakh cases, while deaths in the country nears 18,500. And in Greece's capital Athens, violent clashes unfolded between protesters and police. Around 1,500 protesters, most of them unmasked, were demonstrating against coronavirus vaccinations outside Athens Parliament. Demonstrators and officers were seen exchanging blows before police sent volleys of tear gas. 2 water cannons fired on the crowds to disperse the protest. The protesters, holding placards of "Hands off our children," were carrying flags and singing the national anthem. It is the second rally in a week against Greece's COVID-19 inoculation drive. The rally has come in wake of the government's decision of providing COVID-19 vaccine to teenagers this month. And on to some non-COVID updates from across the globe. US Senate Republicans on Wednesday blocked the move to open debate on a $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure measure favored by the White House, weeks after senators from both parties reached agreement with President Joe Biden, a Democrat, on the outline of a bill that includes $600 billion in new spending to rebuild roads, bridges, ports and other infrastructure. The narrowly divided Senate blocked the start of floor debate in a 51-49 vote. With the Senate split 50-50 on party lines, the bipartisan measure needed the support of at least 10 Republicans to garner the 60 votes required to advance under Senate rules. Biden has deemed the bipartisan infrastructure bill essential. He also wants Congress to pass a separate $3.5 trillion budget initiative that allows legislation to be developed on climate change and social spending provisions that are anathema to most Republicans. And staying to US, wildfires raging across the western United States and Canada, as well as a 2-week-old blaze in Oregon on Wednesday continued to belch smoke and soot and caused harmful air pollution. Satellite images from space show smoke of US western wildfires, where in 13 states more than 80 large active wildfires have charred almost 1.3 million acres of drought-parched vegetation in recent weeks. Several hundred additional fires have burned in western and central Canada. People in distant cities were feeling the air contamination in their eyes, noses and lungs. And London on Wednesday sweltered in the summer heat as a heat wave continued across many parts of the United Kingdom. Temperatures in London hit 30 degrees, sending people to seek refuge in the shade and cool down with ice creams. Some people have expressed concerns that the hot weather was a consequence of climate change. Britain's Met Office said unusually high temperatures are expected in western areas, and continuing high nighttime temperatures created potential risks to health. China now, at least 25 people lost their lives due to rain and flood-related incidents in the central province of Henan. Chinese Weather Department has predicted more rains to hit the flood-stricken province. Floods have disrupted rail and road links, where around 10 lakh people have been evacuated. Dams and reservoirs have swelled to warning levels, and thousands of troops are taking part in the rescue effort in the province. The People's Liberation Army has sent more than 5,700 soldiers and personnel to help with search and rescue. Meanwhile, earlier, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has sent letters to Chinese President Xi Jinping and German Chancellor Angela Merkel to convey his condolences over the loss of life during the devastating floods in both countries. And UNESCO on Wednesday said the English city of Liverpool has been stripped of its World Heritage status after years of development near its Victorian docks. It makes Liverpool the third site to be removed from the prestigious list. After a vote in China by members of its World Heritage Committee, UNESCO took to Twitter and said that Liverpool should be deleted from the International Cultural Organization's list. The vote means that Liverpool will lose the status it has held since 2004 that saw it placed alongside world-famous sites like Taj Mahal and the Great Wall of China. The Heritage label gives historic sites access to UN conservation funding, as well as featuring in tourist guidebooks across the world. And breaking the age-old practice, dozens of female soldiers have become part of the security services that monitor pilgrims in Mecca and Medina. It is for the first time a group of Saudi women soldiers are posted in Islam's holiest sites, where they help secure the Hajj annual pilgrimage. The female soldiers can be seen dressed in a military khaki uniform, a hip-length jacket, loose trousers and black beret over a veil covering her hair. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has pushed through social and economic reforms as part of plans to modernize the conservative Muslim kingdom. The Crown Prince lifted a driving ban on women, allowed adult women to travel without permission from guardians, and granted them more control over family matters. Mona, one of the female soldiers, said, drawing inspiration from her late father, she decided to join the military.
I joined the military service to continue my father's journey. May God rest his soul. Standing here at the Grand Mosque in Mecca, the holiest place, to serve the worshippers is a very noble and honorable task. I am proud to serve the guest of the merciful, and there is no job or work that could be compared to helping the guest of the merciful.
Another soldier named Summer, watching pilgrims near the Kaaba, said she was encouraged by her family to join the military after psychology studies.
This is a huge accomplishment for us, and it is the biggest pride to be in the service of the religion, the country, and the guest of God, the most merciful.
Doing what you love is the cornerstone of having abundance in life. In Argentina, a centenarian grandpa, Hernan Mastrangelo, has proved this proverb. Mastrangelo has been catching eyeballs of netizens after it emerged that for years he had been taking handwritten notes of almost every goal scored by local hero and Barcelona star Lionel Messi. Mastrangelo is a chocolate maker by profession. He made it as his hobby to keep track of each of Messi's goals. Meanwhile, Lionel Messi, who recently celebrated winning the Copa America with Argentina, recorded and sent a video message of thanks. Sports now. Cheering for Indian contingent for Tokyo Olympics, Sports Minister Anurag Thakur rolled out the Hamara Victory Punch campaign on social media. He appealed to Indians to record a video and share it on social media, tagging 5 friends or family members to show their support for the Indian Olympics team.
इंडिया इंडिया ये है मेरी टीम और ये रहा टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स में हमारी टीम के खिलाड़ियों का मनोबल बढ़ाने के लिए हमारा विक्ट्री पंच। आइए टोक्यो में इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे भारतीय एथलीट्स का मनोबल बढ़ाए। आपको करना सिर्फ इतना है, अपने दोस्तों के साथ, अपने परिवार के साथ, अपनी टीम के साथ इंडिया को चीयर करते हुए हमारा विक्ट्री पंच वीडियो बनाएं। आगे 5 लोगों को टैग करिए और चीयर फॉर इंडिया को एक जन आंदोलन बनाइए।
DD Sports will broadcast the Tokyo Olympics live daily, while other channels of Doordarshan and the All India Radio will air special programs on the mega international sporting event. The Tokyo Olympics are beginning from tomorrow. The coverage spans from pre to post Olympics and will be available on the public broadcasters' television, radio and digital platforms across the country. Different sporting events at the Olympics will be broadcast live daily on DD Sports from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Details of the same will be made available every day on DD Sports and AIR Sports Twitter handles. Daily shows on the Olympics on DD Sports include India at Tokyo, which will be broadcast at 8:30 p.m. Olympics highlights at 9 p.m. and Olympics Start Zone at 9:30 p.m. Daily shows on Olympics on DD India include special program every day at 8:30 p.m. and special segments in Breakfast News, Midday Prime and News Night. Daily shows on Olympics on DD News include special program from Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. and on Saturday at 5 p.m. Besides, special segments will be aired in Breakfast News, Midday Prime and News Night. Maximum 50 Indian athletes and officials will take part in the opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympics. India is at serial number 21 in the march past. The sequence of march past is as per Japanese alphabets. Flag bearer, as earlier announced, will be boxing legend Mary Kom and Indian hockey captain Manpreet Singh. And the Indian contingent at Tokyo Olympics will see a blend of youth and also the experience, all with hopes of bagging a medal at Olympic Games. The largest Indian contingent ever this time further showcases the prowess of Indian sporting landscape on an international platform. And one of the oldest sport, wrestling has always been an integral part of India's Olympics glory. In the next report, we'll bring you all you need to know about the Indian wrestling contingent and at the upcoming Tokyo Olympics.
India has sent a 7-member wrestling contingent to the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. The Indian wrestling contingent comprises of 4 women and 3 men, and they compete at the Olympic Games starting the 23rd of July. The wrestlers in the contingent are undoubtedly in contention for medals at the Tokyo Games. The entire contingent comprising 4 women and 3 men will compete in various categories. If we talk about the men's squad, stalwart Bajrang Punia will compete in the 65 kg category, whereas Ravi Kumar Dahiya will compete in the 57 kg category and Deepak Punia in 86 kg category. And in the women's squad, medal hopeful Vinesh Phogat will fight in the 53 kg category. The others who will compete are Seema Bisla in 50 kg, Anshu Malik in 57 kg and Sonam Malik in 62 kg categories. Wrestling as a sporting discipline has been part of the Olympic Games since 1896. Independent India won their first Olympic medal through wrestling, with the legendary K.D. Jadhav winning the men's 57 kg freestyle bronze medal in the 1952 Helsinki Games. Following that success though, India was unable to win any subsequent medal in wrestling for more than half a century. That drought was eventually broken at the 2008 Beijing Olympics when Sushil Kumar won the bronze medal. He followed that up with a silver around his neck 4 years later at the London Olympics to become the only Indian athlete to win more than one Olympic medal for an individual sport. Sushil's teammate Yogeshwar Dutt also tasted Olympic glory as he bagged a bronze medal in the 2012 London Games. Sakshi Malik became India's first female wrestler to win a medal at the Olympic Games. Sakshi won the bronze in the women's 58 kg category at the 2016 Rio Olympics. India boasts of some of the finest men and women's grapplers of today, with the likes of Bajrang Punia and Vinesh Phogat expected to lead from the front at the Tokyo Games. Sports Desk, DD India.
And Brisbane will host the 2032 Olympics after the International Olympic Committee approved the recommendation of its executive board. Brisbane, where a crowd had gathered to watch the announcement on big screens, becomes the third Australian city to get the Games after Melbourne in 1956 and Sydney in 2000. Queensland's Gold Coast hosted the 2018 Commonwealth Games, and Australia will become only the second country after the United States to host Summer Games in 3 different cities.
The International Olympic Committee has the honor to announce that the Games of the 35th Olympiad are awarded to Brisbane, Australia.
Brisbane will host the 2032 Olympics after the International Olympic Committee approved the recommendation of its executive board. Brisbane becomes the third Australian city to get the Games after Melbourne in the year 1956 and Sydney in the year 2000. With this, Australia becomes only the second country in the world after the United States to stage Summer Olympic Games in 3 different cities. Queensland's state capital had been the preferred host chosen in February and had earned the nod of the executive board last month.
Never in my lifetime did I think this was going to happen. We've done it Queensland, we've done it Brisbane. This is fantastic, it's amazing. Tonight is your night. Enjoy.
Several cities and countries had publicly expressed an interest in staging the 2032 Olympic Games, including Indonesia, Hungary's capital Budapest, China, Qatar's Doha, and Germany's Ruhr Valley region. But in a new process adopted by the IOC that does not openly pit cities against each other, Brisbane had already moved ahead of any rival back in February, having been selected as a preferred host. The city's bid had earned repeated praise from the IOC for its high percentage of existing venues, support from all levels of government and the private sector, experience in organizing major events, and its favorable weather, among other things. The state of Queensland hosted the 2018 Commonwealth Games.
The Australian Olympic movement, the opportunity that this presents to all of our sports, to the next generation of athletes, to our Indigenous programs, and I'd like to thank our partners, the federal government, the Brisbane City Council and the Queensland government for taking this challenge up, to working with us, and we look forward to continuing this team.
Australians celebrated Brisbane being named the host city of the 2032 Olympic Summer Games. Hundreds of people gathered at the Riverside South Bank, erupting, ensuring as the defining moments of the IOC session were broadcast on a big screen. Strict lockdowns in 3 of Australia's 6 states due to COVID-19 outbreaks limited the nationwide celebrations.
It's also an exciting moment for the International Olympic Committee because we have with Brisbane, they're a host which is fully aligned with our reforms, with Olympic Agenda 2020 +5. It's a very sustainable project, and it's a project with a great legacy, and it's a project from a sports-loving nation. And this is what it is about, to see the sports-loving Aussies celebrating the Olympic Games. I hope I can still make it until then and be there.
The IOC overhauled its bidding rules in 2019 to reduce costs and make the process easier for cities. There are no official candidate cities campaigning ahead of the vote as has been the case in the past. Instead, the IOC picks a preferred host after talks with all interested cities and then puts that city to a vote at its session. Tokyo is hosting the postponed 2020 Olympics this week and Paris will stage the 2024 Games. Sports Desk, DD India.
Eating outside in the rainy season can become a problem at times. If these food and drinks are not made with hygiene, then there is a risk of many types of stomach infections. Know how to prevent diseases like hepatitis A and E in the rainy season.
Hepatitis A and E are more rampant during monsoon. Hepatitis A and E are caused by strains of hepatitis virus that affects liver. The disease is spread through contaminated food and water.
Hepatitis is one of the disease which is because of contamination of water by hepatitis A or E virus. Patient may feel nausea or vomiting, at times may have vomiting, and there may be loss of appetite. All these cases should be managed at home until unless there are some warning symptoms. Less than 1% or around 1% of patients may go into encephalopathy or coma. In case they develop some complication, then hospitalization is required. Otherwise, they can continue to take normal food and rest at home, and most of the time disease will settle on its own. As far as vaccination is concerned, no vaccine is available for hepatitis E virus. There is a vaccine available in the market against hepatitis A.
The body is usually able to clear the infection on its own in a couple of weeks. However, it is best to visit a specialist for treatment.
We can prevent by avoiding taking food from outside in this season, and by washing your hands after going to the toilet. We can boil water for 15 minutes, and I think that is enough, or we can chlorinate water, and after that we can use water.
Treatment of hepatitis A and E is mainly conservative and symptomatic. Maintaining good nutrition and immunity is essential. These infections can be avoided by practicing good hygiene. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
Right, be careful during rainy season. So it's a wrap in News on the Hour, but before we go, it's a reminder to wear face mask before you step out of your house, and if you're eligible for the vaccination, go and get yourself vaccinated. Cases might be declining, but we cannot afford to lower our guard. Follow COVID appropriate behavior. Namaskar. Bye-bye.